Rise and shine, porcupines. You know what time it is. It's Algebra with Al time. And today we're looking at Chapter 5, Unit 8. The concept is rational zero theorem. Okay, so after watching this video, students will be able to identify all possible rational roots, and then you will be able to determine the actual rational roots, okay, by solving the equations. So the concept is rational zero theorem. The skill is being able to solve these to identify the real solutions, okay? What do you say we get started? All right, so list all possible rational zeros for each function, okay? Now, how do we do that? How do you list all possible without solving? Well, there's a simple formula, P over Q. So, P is all the factors of C over all the factors of the leading coefficient, which would be A, right? So, all the factors of 3 are 3 and 1, all the factors of 1 are 1. So, all the possible solutions would be 3 and 1 to this problem. Those are all the possible. Now, we don't, in this case, we don't know if those are the exact ones because it could be positive or negative, right? So there's 4 actual possible solutions. You'd have to solve it to figure out whether they're positive or negative. But we know there's 4 possible. All right, so here we go. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, we have h of x is x squared minus 2x minus 5. All the factors of c are 5 and 1. All the factors of a is 1. So the possible solutions are plus or minus 5 and plus or minus 1. Because we don't know whether they're positive or negatives, but we do know those are solutions. Okay, and that's all it is. P over Q to find all possible rational solutions. All right, number 3. Once again, but Q is going to be 1. Now this time 12, you got 12 and 1, you got 4 and 3, you got 6 and 2. But when you put all those over 1, that's what they are. It's 12 over 1 is 12, right? Plus or minus, right? And if you do have any duplicated when you are lining this all up, you just get rid of them. Now, if you end up having like one of them be 1 more than once, you're not going to write that in as possible solutions. So there's all the factors of 12, right? 12 and 1, 6 and 2, 4 and 3. Put a 1 underneath every one of those. And then there's all your possible rational solutions, plus or minus, okay? Could be plus 12, minus 12. Could be plus 1, minus 1. So those are all your possible rational solutions. All right, now this one's going to be a little more challenging here. Look at number 7. All right, so find all the rational zeros of each function. So now you're actually going to find them. Now they actually want you to find them. What we're going to do first is identify all the possibles, okay? So we know how to do that, P over Q, right? What are the factors of 4? Well, that's easy, 4 and 1 and 2 and 2. The factors of 1 are 1, so we're going to put a 1 underneath all of those, and those will be our possible solutions. Okay, so once we determine what they are, they're 4, 1, right? And then we're not going to write the 2 twice. It's plus minus 4, plus minus 1, plus or minus 2, and we're not going to add the 2 in again. That's just redundant. All right, so there you go. Now, how do we find the solutions? Those are the possible ones. We're going to use synthetic substitution. We're going to take one of those values. You're just guessing here. You don't know which one it is for sure. And we're going to use synthetic substitution to find if it equals 0. That's the key. All right, so we bring down the 1, multiply by 4, add those together, we get 2. Multiply by 2, we get 8. And you can see when we substitute 4 in, we get 48. So 4 is not a rational solution. It has to equal 0. So this is just guesswork in the beginning. We're just kind of guessing. Now maybe you would have guessed 1 or 2 first, okay? And maybe you would have found it right off the top. So now when I substitute in 1, I do the math, we do all the math, and look, the last one, it equals 0. So now we know that 1 is a solution, right? Or actually, it is a factor, right? So the factor here, when it's positive 1, is x minus 1. So now you say, hey, how do you find the rest of them? Okay, well, All we're going to do is take x squared minus x plus 4 equals 0, right? We're going to do the discriminant, because they're not, all they want to do is find all the rational ones, right? So if we do the discriminant in this, it'll tell us, based on whether it's positive or negative, whether the answers are imaginary or not. So that's all you have to do. All we have to do is the discriminant. You don't even have to go through all the solving, right? So we're going to use the discriminant, b squared minus 4ac, to find whether the rest of the solutions are what? Imaginary, real. Okay, so let's do one more of these. Let's look at number 8. We're going to go through the whole process. And this is the key here. This is what, when you leave this chapter, this is what you need to know, right? So we have P, all the factors of 12 again, 12, 1, 6, 2, 4, and 3. Our Q is 1, so we can put everything under 1. And if we have anything that is redundant, we won't use it again. Here, we do not have anything redundant. It's positive, negative 12, positive, negative 1, positive, negative 6. So those are all the possible solutions. Now we know there's only 3 of them that are valid because it's x cubed. But there are all the possible ones you can choose from. So from here, it's really just kind of a guess and check. Now obviously if it was me, I would start with, the 1, the negative 1, the 2, the negative 2. I wouldn't start with 12, obviously. So I would pick some that the math is relatively easy and maybe you get lucky. So we start with 1. We're going to use synthetic substitution to see when I plug 1 in, does it equal 0? Okay, go through all the math and look, it does not equal 0, it equals 6. So 1 is not a rational solution, right? So when you go through the process and you get to 2, you will see that 2 will make that equal to 0. I didn't go through all the steps. There it is, you know how to do it. But when you got to 2, you would find out that 2 would make it equal to 0. That means the factor is x minus 2. Now how do we find the rest of them? What are we going to do? Let's factor it. It factors into x plus 2, right? X minus 3. So that means the solutions are 2, 3, and negative 2. That's it. All right. Well, boys and girls, so the key is here, understanding first we have to find all the possible solutions, rational solutions. That is P over Q. That is C, right, over A. As far as when we're dealing with polynomials, that's how we think about it. Then, after you do that, remember, it's positive and negative. The solutions are positive and negative. Then we're going to just guess and check. We're going to pick a value, use synthetic substitution, till we get to one that equals 0. And once we do that, we know it's a solution. We take that, we know the factor, right? And what we're left with after the synthetic substitution is a polynomial that we can factor, or we can use we can use completing the square to solve. We can use a quadratic formula to solve. Whatever is easiest for you to find the rest of the factors. Okay? All right. Well, that's all we have time for today. I appreciate you being here. Remember, math, math, math. Get out and do some math.